You really see like Engstrom's point in a lot of ways that like if this is statistically what usually happens, it would make sense that this Mark is eventually going to do that. So he's like trying to get ahead of the game. Do you kill baby Hitler? You know what I mean? You know what? Do you go to every dimension and kill baby Hitler?
You have Cable do it.
That's true. You send Cable to do it for you. Welcome back to the break room. Can we give this whole cast of voice actors Emmys already? Do they do like a Team SAG award for voice acting?
No,
they should.
unfortunately.
You know they do it for shows.
They do
like
yeah. Best ensemble.
Best ensemble.
No, he's saying best ensemble cast.
Yeah.
I mean, they could take. I mean, if it broke the.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
They do.
What an end to season 2, folks. Where's the show going to go from here? Well, if you read the comics, you probably know, but we'll talk about it a little bit. We'll save all that for the end of the episode. But we're going to talk about season 2, episode 8 today. I thought you were stronger. I'm Brandon Barrick. Welcome to Breakroom, the after show. And joining me today, he's just wondering why you're over here beating up this old man. It's Jay Washington.
That really sounds so weird on so many levels. I just want to.
You want to stop someone from beating up an old guy?
It depends on what that old dude did. He might deserve it, and he might gotta let him have it. And also, I'm just flexing like this because I'm looking at these shoulders. This is an amazing workout.
You're looking good.
Been doing a lot of work.
You're ready to beat up an old man, Jay. And she thinks it's sexist that the spirit of Kahor won't use her as his avatar. It's Gina Ippolito.
I gave him a free pass.
You consented.
Hey, come on, man. It's roomy in here.
Get inside me, Kahor.
But he said, he was like, hey, listen, look, I gotta inhabit a dude. I can't do that.
I mean, I think you gotta blame the ancient Egyptians for setting the curse with such tight semantics in the first place.
I bet he'd like it. Once he's in there, he'd be like, this is much better.
I don't want to have my monthlies. I don't know how to deal with that.
We sent women over a hole for 7 days.
All right, before we get into some questions we had after the episode, let's do a quick recap of the season 2 finale. Jay, why don't you kick us off?
All right, this will be a summary in about 500 words max. After one of the funniest cut to Invincible moments in the beginning,
so good.
The dude was like, if I do this, I can feel. If he was like, I feel okay.
I did like too. It was like he kind of pops in the background. I forgot the high stakes we were. I thought he was just like coming home. I forget like, oh no, Engstrom Levy's there with like
is that his
wife and brother, and he like just the idea that this guy's running by at night, like, oh yeah, I'm invincible,
really
baby.
Trying.
You know, he's like,
don't puke.
He's like, don't puke. Hey, bro, listen, brother was trying to get his life together.
Yeah,
you got to give him the benefit of the doubt for that, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, we believe in him, but. Let's see, Mark confronts Engstrom Levy, who was holding Debbie and Oliver hostage. I'm not even going to say captain.
No.
He's holding them hostage. And we get an incredible series of scenes, Mark trying to fight Levy and get sent across dimensions, which, by the way, these talking dinosaurs was like, hey, man, I ain't had human flesh since I was a hatchling.
I love them. I like that one of them was like, no, don't eat him. He talks.
He talks.
And he was like, if he talks, that means he thinks. I was like, oh, okay. Well,
They're better than us, is what I'm saying. Stop eating octopus.
They stole our language.
Also, shout out to the dinosaurs, just like, we ain't gonna never catch him like this. So we can just try to bite at him. These arms too short to box with God.
That's right.
Look, from dinosaurs to Batman to a possible spider variant, which also was a prof op, which was hilarious to the name for me.
Yeah.
We'll get more on that later. Mark seemingly sees it all because every time he charges, Levy sends him through another portal, which is kind of smart, but also stop blind, bro. You ain't, look, he keeps telling, actually, like, you might think you fast enough, bro, but I'm a little bit quick on the trigger. When you got 97,000 brains put into one, okay? When you got a brain braid, you can think on your feet, literally. Look, Mark tries to plead with Levy, but his recollection that he tried to save Mark once is clouded by his memories of Mark from other dimensions, who is a very, very cold-blooded killer in a time, even one with a cape. Let's tell you something, capes are for villains. Okay, you got a cape.
Superman would beg to differ, sir.
Minus Billy D. Williams, you know, Lando Calrissian can wear a cape.
The heroes need to bring capes back. They need to
capes in real life, or
just like own capes again. Like you're right. So many villains have capes now.
But here's the thing: they've always done those. I like the comic books that have always done the. Here's why you shouldn't have a cape.
Right.
Yeah.
If you get somebody just snatched up out the air and then
they show a whole montage of it in the Incredibles.
Yes, exactly. So
Watchmen, it's a big point in the Watchmen.
How did y'all feel about that montage of Mark being just a
that chopping off the head, like he was like bored. He was bored doing that.
Just
brutal. Brutal.
Angstrom's wife
kid?
died.
Oh, I forgot about the kid. The kid is the dark. Especially
Mark.
when his like baby brother is being held by the ankle by
Right.
like a crazy man, and you're like, that guy's evil. And
Well,
then
it's
they
a
cut to Mark, and he's like, squish, baby.
You really see like Angstrom's point in a lot of ways that like if this is statistically what usually happens, it would make sense that this Mark is eventually going to do that. So he's like trying to get ahead of the game. Do you kill baby Hitler? You know what I mean? You know what? Do you go to every dimension and
So
kill
you have,
baby
you
Hitler?
have Cable do it.
That's
have
true.
Cable do
You
it
sent
for
Cable
you.
to do it for you.
You know what? I'm gonna not go to that.
Jay, go on the record.
Not gonna go because if I go on that record, then there's another record I
yeah.
gotta go on the record to the off record.
Sure.
I think the fact it's weird though. Like only these dimensions see the evil Mark.
Yeah.
Like you mean to tell me every single dimension, every one, Omni-Man and Invincible are evil, and this
It
is
seems
the-
like most
I
of
thought
them.
that this was the only one. I could be wrong, but I thought Angstrom Levy at some point said, of all the dimensions, this is the one where you're not evil.
But I think it's all the ones I don't know if it's one.
He hasn't seen them all.
That's what I'm
so-
saying. He's like Doctor Strange in that certain movie. He was like, I saw 14,605,000 probabilities. It's the only one.
Right.
So is that the case? Has he gone through 14 million dimensions in a sense like that?
I don't think he's done them all, but he's seen a lot. He knows that this happens a lot.
Isn't his consciousness linked to every Angstrom Levy?
They're not all linked. He was trying to mix them all together.
Yeah.
And again, he doesn't have every length.
That's what I was
Angstrom
saying.
across
It's not
time.
every one.
It was only the ones he could get together in that moment.
Yeah, because some of them
Yeah.
like, hey, bro, there's too many black people
He
connected
says-
together. We don't need this in one
I
dimension.
think he says hundreds when they build the machine.
Yes.
We tried to do the math and count like all
yeah.
the little angstroms. It wasn't even 100 the way the machine was set up, but it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
Also, if it was more angstroms, his brain would be at his ankle like a train.
Ugh, it's already pretty gross. Anyway, Angstrom Levy reveals to Debbie that she often joins Mark
yeah.
and Nolan in slaughtering humankind, which blew my mind.
Have you met humans?
Have you met humans?
I mean, but I thought this whole time that the reason this Mark isn't evil is because of the soothing, calming influence of Debbie.
When
But
a woman's
apparently,
fed up,
in other universes,
no matter how you
she's
been.
on board with genocide and she's the only pure human doing it. The other two, but she's like,
she love her family
she's
that
like,
much.
yeah,
Oh.
I guess that's true. She knows that her son in this timeline is not a killer.
Mm.
She's got a lot of faith in him. And she realizes perhaps this is the one world where Mark is good and that Levy is bad.
Yeah.
He thinks he's the good guy.
Yeah, so it's her realization there that's where I think maybe we were talking about, like, where it's like every Mark is bad. It's she's thinking like, oh, maybe this is why you're so upset, right?
Yeah.
She kind of puts it all together there. Because, this Angstrom is acting out a little bit.
Hey, bro
if
was
you
kind of
switch-
heated when he heard that too. He was, I'm not the bad guy.
Well, because
Yeah,
he
he's
really...
like, I'm a good guy. Why won't women date me?
I contributed to the DNC. Why won't women date me? I do like that. This Angstrom, we'll call him like Angstrom Prime, the one who got the head, right? He was going around. He built the machine. He got the Maulers, and he remembers for a second that when the Maulers are all beaten up on Mark, he's like, I'm not gonna have my utopia founded on blood. So he feels bad because I think all the other Angstroms in his head are like, no, Mark's bad. Mark's bad.
Let it do it,
And
yeah.
he knows
Yeah.
like, well, this one's different. But like, yeah, it makes him more angry at himself, which makes him act out even more.
In other words, he's like Randy Orton, Sergeant. He's like Randy Orton with the voices in his
Yes.
head.
Seems like a better use of that time machine that they used to get Mark would have been to go back and stop Angstrom from becoming a giant brain
I
creature.
mean, again, the time machine problem. Stop putting time machines in your movies or TV shows because you create a
we
problem.
can only use it once. Anyway,
This hit was like 4 of
Angstrom
them, right?
Levy, he
Yeah.
fully loses it. He breaks Debbie's arm, not just breaks it, snaps that crap in half.
In the middle too, not even like a
Yeah.
Shout out to the animated showing both bones.
And it's just laying there dead. She's not even flapping it around. It's
And immediately
just plonk.
Oliver's crying and she's like, Oliver's okay. Oh,
I mean,
trying to save
I'm not gonna
Oliver.
lie. Was I the only one that thought that was when Oliver's power was gonna manifest?
Me too. I did too.
He was gonna go
just
Jack
reach
Jack.
out and just
Yeah, I
rip
thought he was
his
gonna go
throat
Jack
out.
Jack.
I was like, come on, baby, rip that throat out.
He
Mark-
goes from, Mama, to give you out your damn mind.
Yeah,
Put my
yeah.
Mother down.
Yeah, he has one tooth and he uses it to bite down on that brain. Mark returns just in time and lets loose, but Levy had super strength up his sleeve the whole time, and he takes Mark on a painful tour through the multiverse. They use the word multiverse too, ultimately ending up in a desert wasteland where Mark gets the upper hand and wails on Levy in the name of his family. He goes ham.
He
Mark
goes,
is
what?
ham.
First of all, I just wanted you to know this is not 2000 and what is this? 8?
We can still say ham.
It's 2008 in my heart.
This is
Jay, was he let off the chain? Is he off the chain?
Let me tell y'all something right now. I like to quote a great line from Issa D from Insecure. I will not be your black reference for this whole episode. I will
You're
not
right,
be.
you're right.
You will not do this with me.
I just like ham.
Is he hella angry?
When all is said and done, he realizes he's killed Levy and is stranded in this dimension. This is his first, like, human death, right?
His intentional human death.
I mean, his face killed a lot of people on a train once.
Yeah.
That's what I said. His first
that was like
intentional.
passive death because he
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
fight
yeah.
his father and his father was forcing him.
Yeah, but this is like his fists are a killing. Stephen
Right.
Yeun gives a tour de force of voice acting as Mark has a crisis of faith as his morality comes into question, and it's just done so well. His voice breaks at some
Yeah.
point. Like it sounds like he did the Hugh Jackman thing where he yelled himself hoarse and
Right.
was like, guys, I'm so.
He's
It was
really
hard
messed
to
up because
listen
he
to.
spent the whole season like holding back.
Yeah.
But
And everyone's like pushing him and being like, do this thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, trying to show him everything's like very black and white, good and evil. And he's like, no, I'm not going to hold back. And even Cecil at the end when he's like, hey, good guys won, bad guys dead, right? And it's like, that's not, this is a problem.
even on Thraxon, when him and Nolan had to fight the Viltrumites, he said, Mark, if you don't fight
Right.
like you're trying to kill,
Yeah.
she's going to kill you.
But Cecil should enlist his superheroes in therapy. There should be a
Thank you.
There
I was
should
trying.
be a superhero
They're
therapist.
trying to what?
It should not
He
be
was trying
Cecil.
to get the immortal to go to psych treatment. Now, Debbie really needs help. And please fix the house across the street. I'm begging you.
I mean, they
Even the neighbor pointed it out.
bring it up in this episode. They
They
do
fixed
bring
Debbie's
it up.
house immediately. Just fix the house across the street. She has to stare at it every
No,
day.
there's got to be a method to this. There's got to be some method to this. That like Cecil's using it for something.
Oh, he's definitely using it to
maybe
keep
there-
Debbie-
Maybe it's a hologram. Maybe there really is a house there, but he's making everyone think it's a destroyed
it's
house.
a living white room.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be
Okay.
to keep people
Okay.
away.
All right. Well, just when all hope seems lost and Mark's stranded on this desolate planet, the Guardians of the Globe of Mark's dimension appear, now 20 years older. They've been dimension hopping to try and find Mark and conveniently can send him back to his world and time. They don't say much else besides that without Mark, their world is and not good. He said, and not good.
Nothing good.
And before he can go through the portal, an older Eve who's clearly been down bad ever since the love of her life disappeared is like, look, I've been in love with you for a very long time. Don't tell me about it, but just know that I know and say something to me or something. And Mark's like, great, lot to put on me. Thanks so
I
much."
like that she said either say you love me or say you don't.
say something
Say
to
something.
me.
Like,
Like, you're
it
leading
wouldn't-
me on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to nothing but Atlantis More Sense CDs, Mark. Please,
Damn.
please.
Damn.
That was in 2008.
Yeah. Got him. 1998. Even.
Yeah.
1998.
You know what?
Get Tori Amos in here.
Touche.
Got him.
Good one.
Got him.
Thank you.
Boom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought you
I
were
thought you
stronger,
were
Jay.
stronger, Jay.
Damn. Sorry, Gina. I didn't mean to step on it. I felt it coming.
No, I like it. Group mind. This is a good improv
mind.
exercise. Let's get the show
Here
started.
we go. You ready to start, John?
One word from the audience, please. Drop it in the comments.
Mark returns and is comforted by not only his mom, but Cecil with a great exchange where Cecil says, if the bad guys are dead and the good guys are alive, that's a good day. Mark asks, how do you know the difference? And Cecil says, the bad guys are the ones who usually break people's arms. Again, that's very black and white, and not every situation
Also,
is like that.
Mark just broke a dude's head.
Right.
So-
No. This is where I'll stand up for Cecil this one time. Okay? Extra Levy just took Debbie's arm, was like,
Yeah.
and then normally ain't no good guy gonna be like, so you gonna keep doing this, huh?
Right.
Bop! Ain't no, that's not happening.
But at the same time, Angstrom Levy is a man that if you can take into custody, which would be very difficult, I
Yeah,
understand.
and
He has
rehabilitate
a
him.
lot of knowledge about all the other dimensions and everything they've tried against.
No,
Viltrumite.
seriously, that's what I was thinking. That was like that's the biggest loss, I
Right.
think, of killing him, is that if you can rehabilitate him and say like, hey, we need you. He's the only one that's seen it play out. He originally started with wanting to save everyone, so you just
Right.
have to, again, therapy. Therapy will fix these supervillains.
Therapy and some type of contraption, because you need something to hold his powers at
Yeah.
bay. And
I wonder if you cut his hands off, can he still make the portals? Probably.
Yeah,
No,
His
no,
mouth.
no,
What if he does it out of his
I
mouth?
think you need those powers. I think you need those powers. You
There's your thumb.
No.
Jay's got a portal in his mouth. It will take you to another dimension.
You know what? Thanks, Brandon. Thanks. Boy, them DMs are gonna be interesting this week. Yeah, thanks, Brandon.
Portal glory hole.
Thank you, Gina. All right, can we market the convince?
So Cecil tries to, calm Mark down, say, hey, you did a good job, but Mark is like not convinced. He's had a rough year or two at this point, and now like he's had this anger inside of him kind of explode, and the one thing he's been trying to do ever since he learned about his father is like control that part of him and not let him become his father, and he sees it creeping out of him. He knows it's inside of him. So again, he decides, rightfully so, I think, I'm not going back to school. I got to commit on myself. Like the best thing I can do for me right now is not be in college and get better control of myself, work on myself, and control my powers.
Go to therapy.
Yeah,
Which is,
man.
I think that's part of it, right? Like
You
that
better,
is all
you
part of
better.
it. And I'm happy to hear this because Mark does not need the obligation of having to go to school. If his role in this world is to be like a hero, protecting this planet from a threat they know is out there that is coming for them, it is ridiculous to make this boy go to school.
First of all,
It's the Buffy problem, right? Like, part of you wants to be a normal person, but the other part has this higher calling.
Right.
So I think like now is when he finally realizes I'm never going to be a normal person again.
Exactly.
I'm never going to work at Burger Mart again. I'm never going to have a girlfriend. I'm just going to be like used as a weapon until someone kills me.
And he's like, I've got 5,000 years ahead of me. Like,
Yeah.
I thought when Gina was like, I'm just gonna be, and this would be the great time for the editor to put up the Invincible thing with the glass
I'm
track.
just gonna be-
I mean,
yeah.
Invincible.
he wants to be invincible emotionally. We'll get to that at the end of the episode, folks. As he's flying around, he goes to check on Amber. He's hanging out in the sky. She's hanging out with some friends, and he's like, you know what? I've moved on.
Good.
I can't go back to this.
Good. I hope we never see her again.
Dang.
Why not
dang.
Gina?
Gina's in the Reddit
I don't
comments.
like this relationship. It's very weird.
Why don't you like love?
Yeah.
It's not love. It's she needs to be able to party and move on. And every time he shows up, he reopens that old wound.
It's tough because they are two people who genuinely love each other. They respect each other. They look up to each other for the good that each other
She
does
took
in the
his
world.
virginity.
She needs to get her party on. She is in college.
agree. Like,
she
she-
needs to spend the next year like partying, going to classes, going to the easy film classes that she likes, moving into a house with girls.
Sometimes two people who work out well together and love each other, the situation doesn't work.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
He needs to just
Yeah.
leave her be.
So he
she
left her be.
It's like when you break up with someone and you're like creeping on their Instagram,
Right.
you need to go no contact.
First of all, that's why you make a Finsta so you know what you're doing.
No, you need to go no contact and then you'll get over them faster.
No, because I want to make sure you ain't got no trying to better yourself right just yet. Because if I'm hurt, damn it, we all should be hurt. I'm sorry.
This is the unhealthy way. This is the healthy way. Hide their Instagram for a while.
Everybody got Finstas. Don't act like you not.
I don't even know what that is.
I just put all the
Fake
pain.
Instagrams.
Yeah, it's 2014. I just put all the pain inside of a bottle, deep inside my soul. And I never opened that bottle. That's how you do it. Instead of meeting up with Amber, he goes and talks to Eve. But he can't quite bring himself to talk about the feelings he knows she has for him, which I think is smart. That's a lot to lay on her.
I know.
He lets their hands touch.
No, he abruptly jerks
Well,
away.
he lets it happen
He
first.
lets it happen,
Yeah,
and he's like,
and then he's
this ain't the moment.
Doesn't, but they lean on each other, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
realize
yeah.
that, hey, we can actually talk honestly about everything. We can empathize with each other.
I think
We're
he's
going through
worried if
similar
he tells
things.
her. I think he's worried if he tells her he's gonna lose her as a friend, and that would break him.
Yeah.
What? But here's my question. But tells her what is the question?
I think he is not ready to get into a relationship. I think he loves her in a specific way, but doesn't love her in that romantic way. And I think if he says to her like, "Hey, I don't love you. You need to move on," she's not going to be there for these late night chats, and that's the only thing keeping him mentally together.
I agree with all that. I just think also that there is a love. Yes, him and Amber is his sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
That's what's his normalcy. Eve is real life.
Yeah.
So I think his relationship with Eve, which he could have, is that, like you said, he can have those discussions about, look, I'm having nightmares. I didn't just blew through the air at supersonic speed, which no one talks about. Like
he got very fast.
He got very fast. Also,
he got some 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna go back in time.
I did too.
I did too. That's what I thought was about to happen.
I was like, is he?
I was like, they're not gonna do that.
Yeah,
because he was moving that fast. Like he's never flown that fast. But also, I think that Eve can understand. Like, look, there's times you feel like, look, I feel like I'm my father. And even though his mom can say this, Eve is a superpower being who feels like sometimes her powers go out of control. So I think him telling her would be like, look, you're not, yes, you have these natural genetic things, but you're not him.
Right. In a lot of ways, though, it reminds me of, a couple of theater kids, right? They're Mark and Eve, they have this shared experience where they're working together. Neither of them are on the Guardians, but they work together a lot. They go through the same experience. They're working the same hours. They both have all this stuff they have to handle, blah, blah, blah. Amber can't empathize with that. She understands it. She knows what's going on, but she can't empathize with it. So that pushes Mark and Eve closer together. But if all that, when the play ends in theater, right, then they don't stay together, right?
They go back to the green room that smells like mildew and weed, and they dry hump on an old couch.
Yeah. But eventually, like, the play's over and there's no shared experience anymore. Do you stay together? So if they continue on, if Mark and Eve grow closer, can they keep it up? If, like, they're always working together, they're always sharing this experience.
Just go skip past the dry up in the green room.
I was a theater kid.
We all know what theater kids do.
We've all done it.
Who the hell is we?
We've all done it.
Brandon knows what theater kids do.
Yeah.
I was in theater when I was in school. I never humped on the couch.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jay. Yeah, Jay.
Oh, so everybody in the comments now, y'all humped on couches too? Okay, cool. So all you theater kids, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go back in time and tell myself, yo, you gonna miss out on some experience if you don't hump on this couch.
Yeah, you got to dry hump on the couch.
Dry hump on the couch, okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Thank you. Everybody in this whole studio cleared it up for me. No one was on my side. The dog wasn't even on my side. Hank is around there like,
Hank's been a theater major for years. Wrapping up the recap, despite Mark's extremely bummer time, we do get some uplifting endings to the other storylines this season. Robot and Monster Girl talk out their problems.
Finally.
Imagine that. At least one couple on this show could. It's a very constructive thing. It ends with them
He listens.
agreeing to a cute little date. I mean, just because he was a floating glob in a tank a couple months ago doesn't mean he can't learn.
But I'm glad the way he said it too.
learn.
He was like, yo, he basically was like, I'm trying.
Yeah.
He's like,
I bet he
learning.
Googled how to say it.
Right.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with Googling that, bro. That's what YouTube is for.
If it helps you grow, Google whatever you need to Google.
Also, I don't remember which one of you called it, but the Immortal finds Kate alive in the Arctic,
J-Dog.
revealing that
Number
she's been living
0.
through copies. Also, he might be Jesus because what's he got in that house?
He had the Holy Grail.
It looks like the Holy
He had
Grail.
Lincoln's top hat. He had some like a knight or a shield, and
He was in the Crusades.
I bet he's
he was-
King Arthur or
probably like
something.
Lancelot,
a knight
something
of
like that.
Templar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, if he was Lancelot.
You know what? We got to go back to that montage that showed his life because I definitely remember Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, remember that.
And I can't remember. Maybe they showed him as Jesus too.
They didn't show him as Jesus. They just
He
showed
probably
him,
was a
like,
disciple.
maybe.
No, I think he's Jesus.
You don't think he was on the Roman side? He was like, let's kill this Jesus.
Listen,
dude. I'm the immortal here.
It makes sense if you're gonna rise from the dead that you're the immortal.
Yeah.
That's
Don't you
Jesus.
tell me no, I am not doing the immortal as Jesus angle.
I think he was just around.
No, he was Jesus.
Or maybe, a lot of those holy artifacts, right, are like fakes. They're not real.
Yeah,
You
but
know
he
what I mean?
has the real.
He has the real one.
Or maybe he just went and stole it from a Catholic church because he's been around a long time and he knows Catholic church.
But it's all anything you see.
He's seen the worst of the Catholic Church.
Sir, he saw the Crusade.
Especially if he was a Knights Templar, he saw the worst of the
Oh yeah, he absolutely did.
I'd like to think that like every decade he switches. Like he's like, now I'm a Protestant. I see which way the wind's blowing. Someone's getting killed this decade, and it sure as hell isn't gonna be me. And then the next decade he's like,
this
well,
Buddha guy.
guess I gotta switch back to Catholicism.
No, he's probably like
because
this
those
Buddha guy,
Protestants are
right?
crazy.
He's incense.
Wait
They
till he
smell
hears
amazing.
about Xenu and the Scientologist.
Hey, I was L. Ron Hubbard originally. Okay? You don't understand this.
I think the Scientology would make the most sense to the immortal, who's like, oh yeah, there was definitely an alien that put all the souls inside of a volcano and blew them up.
And Joseph Smith got these golden discs and he translated.
No, he was around for Joseph Smith. He was like Fuck this guy.
I would like to go on a date with the immortal just to hear him explain religious history to me. The show brings back one of the most unique villains. Did everyone remember this? I had to look it up. Kahor the Mummy.
That's right.
And then it immediately moves on. This is the Mumra dude who is very, very Mumra from Thundercats.
It was in season 1, episode 4.
Yeah.
It's a throwaway joke that's not in the comics.
Did you call him Mumra?
He's
yeah,
Mumra.
I don't know how
He
much.
has the voice. He has the same animation.
Yeah, and it's
No, he doesn't.
Yes,
Oh,
and
As a Thundercats aficionado,
No,
I
he's
take
Mumra.
offense to it. He is not Mumra.
Mumra.
He even does the voice like,
Yes.
I am here
Yes.
to take your soul.
And when he raises, it's the same
the
exact
same-
transformation. He raises with a green light and flapping.
Mumra has the ancient spirits of evil. Mumra has a dog named Mamut. Mumra, when he transforms his ancient spirits of evil, transformed his decayed form to Mumra, the ever living. Mumra is jacked to shit. Mumra is on ancient Egyptian steroids. Mumra is blue. Dude, it's great. Stop
to
it.
make slight
Listen,
changes.
Evan and John, just when you edit this together,
Put
let's
in Mumra.
Put in Mumra in his transformation with the thing
light,
flapping.
with the cloak.
Flapping, and
Yeah.
the way he talks.
The way he
the
talks.
We'll do
voice
it side by side. We'll do it side.
Thank you.
Unless they
Thank
talking about
you.
okay, let me do this real quick.
there we
Unless they talking about Mumra from the revamped Thundercats.
He's already
OG.
hedging. I'm talking to OG Mumra. He's OG Mumra. He is very clearly everything.
You were correct. You were wrong, Snurf.
You sound like Snarf every time he was possessed by Mumra.
Everything in this cartoon is derivative of something else. Not
Fair.
derivative, but
Yeah.
it's paying homage
Homage
to
to it,
something
yes.
else. And this is very clearly supposed to be
Definitely
Mumra.
Mumra.
Finally, in the mid-credit scene, we see Nolan in the Viltrumite prison getting beat the piss out of. And all episode, he's been getting healed and beat up, all by General Krieg. But Alan makes contact and gives him this whole like, hey, bro, I've been looking for you. Like, word? Okay, cool. Nolan realized he feels ashamed for what he's done in the name of the Viltrumites. He had those moments when he was beating Mark's face in, by the way. And maybe one important thing, he misses his wife. Now, we know we're talking about the cute human wife, not the...
It could be a bug. Could be the bug.
The cricket wife is
dress
dead. She died 6 minutes after
and
birth.
dress is definitely
That
dead.
doesn't mean he can't miss her.
He could, well, how you look? She was already.
Also, I don't think
57.
they got married.
He does. She says she refers to him as my husband.
Oh, that's right, because he was emperor of Thrax.
Yeah,
he
he
was
was
the
Thrax,
emperor.
yeah.
Right. Never mind. I apologize.
It's more
that
so- I think-
baby's not a bastard. I'm so sorry.
No, I think it's more so he misses. Honestly, I get
misses
what you're saying.
Deb.
He might miss it. He like
She's still got those wedding ducks.
Ooh,
by
she
the way,
used the duck too.
She used the duck, and then how disturbing was it that they put everything back?
I know.
Okay, well, that was one thing I was gonna.
Because that's the second time they've done
Ooh,
that.
Like,
that
the
is
house was
so. Even the wedding ducks, which someone probably got them like hand carved or something. Cecil's probably got a room full of wedding ducks to
Which
replace.
lets you know. Remember, you have my house bugged.
Yeah.
Cecil can see inside everything in that house because that couch was from 1984. That was from an episode of WKRP in Cincinnati. That wasn't a newer couch. Yeah, that's an old show.
Maybe he just clones stuff. Maybe he clones the whole apartment. Maybe it's like he has this tech that he can just replicate things and then stores them away and then puts them back whenever the house is destroyed.
Just in case Nolan goes through one of his things again. Here's another couch.
I think Cecil's running like a rent-to-own scam, and like,
Cecil's running Rent-A-Center?
yeah, don't rent your couch, don't rent your TV.
Shouts out to everybody who had a couch they were paying $1,972 for.
Cecil's got him by the balls. We want to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor today, Kalshi. Kalshi is the first legal financial exchange in the U.S. where you can bet on any event, which means for us means Rotten Tomatoes scores. Okay. Where you can bet on any event, which means for us, we bet on things like Rotten Tomatoes scores, because they're always accurate. Furiosa's new trailer is out, and for instance, that's fueling speculation on whether or not the Rotten Tomatoes score will be above 90. You can buy shares on either side of that discussion. As early reviews come in, the prices will fluctuate. If the share price for above 90 is up to 75 cents or something before opening weekend, and you sell, you'll get 75 cents. It's kind of like fantasy football, only for the entertainment industry. It's super fun, and you can make some money doing it. Kalshi is the only place you can bet on Rotten Tomatoes in all 50 states. Will they be delicious? Will they be rotten? But it's also got a ton of different markets. There are markets for things like politics, music, climate, economics, tech, gaming, and more. You can sign up by going to callshe.com/breakroom, and the first 500 traders will get a free $20 credit. That's callshe.com/breakroom. And of course, we want to remind you to check out nerdriot.shop. Grabbing some merch is the best way to support the channel, and there's tons of great designs on the site right now. Keep an eye out for some Breakroom merch coming very soon. Gina's wearing a Breakroom hoodie.
It's very comfortable.
Oh my gosh, you could dress up like Gina this Halloween.
Hey, what are you doing here? It's Halloween. That's what you got to do.
So in this scenario, when I dress up as you, they're going around saying, "What are you doing here? It's Halloween."
Yeah, I think it was pretty. I think I explained it pretty well.
It's kind of a convoluted costume, but we'll work it out. We got time until Halloween. Get a shirt for yourself or any other piece of merch over at nerdriot.shop. We've got so many questions, so let's talk first about some of Mark's dimension hopping in this episode, which is a lot of fun. One of the biggest questions might be, what happened in the 20 years while Mark was away? So on like the main planet that the main dimension that Mark is from, what happens in those 20 years, right?
In his absence? Oh, I think
his absence.
It's got to be that the Viltrumites took over and enslaved everyone, right?
The Guardians still try to fight.
Yeah.
But
I think at this point, the Guardians are like, oh, we'll let you be a little club, but they don't really do much. But there's probably like an underground resistance, but it's futile.
Yeah, they didn't look as rough as the resistance we saw in like the first episode of this season, right?
Yeah, I think it would be very on brand for the Viltrumites to be like, oh, this is so cute.
Right.
Yeah, you can still be here. We won't kill you. That's how little they.
Because in theory, I mean, without Mark, Nolan might still be on the same path. Alan is there. Thetis could like get together a little coalition. They might have put up a good fight.
But it ultimately
But you
fails.
think Earth is under control of the
think it
Viltrumites?
fails.
How are they able to get these time machines?
Mark is the strongest.
Okay.
Because again, as every comic book, superhero movie, cartoon always shows, the human spirit does something to enhance everybody.
That's right.
It's just there's this thing that always happens.
Not me. It's what's keeping me down.
What are you doing here? It's Halloween. Famous Gina catch.
Sometimes you guys make callbacks, and I'm like, I could cut something, and now I can't. Now I can't cut it. I mean, not that I would have cut it, but I'm just saying.
Sorry.
Wasn't me this time. But I think because Mark is the strong, because of that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what it beside it holding you down. But they always say the human spirit is something about it. So that's how Mark can, when he finally lets go, it isn't that he becomes his dad. He's stronger than his dad. So he's the one who can literally help. Yeah, it's a whole battle with, like you said, Thetis, all this to counsel everybody.
Yeah.
But he was the one, like he was the anchor.
Yeah.
And so without him, they get overpowered. Because you see Nolan was getting beat to piss in a prison.
Well, he's also not putting up a fight. You know what I mean?
But if he did though, because he said he's accepted his fate. Blah, blah, blah.
Because I think it's insinuated Nolan's like pretty strong for a Viltrumite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that one guy with the mustache.
You're my
like,
hero.
I love you.
Also, both of them look the same.
It's the whole thing. It's a planet of oppressors. They've gotta all have mustaches.
With all porn stashes. The oppressive porn stash.
Yeah. We all wear pants on this planet. They probably think that's crazy.
I got on shorts and tights because I'm going to the gym.
We wear something.
Okay.
Most of us.
But yeah, I think that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Nolan might have died because maybe Alan and Nolan don't come back. Maybe certain things don't play out. And again, Mark being the strongest one, because remember, even Immortal had to acquiesce, was like, "Yo, bro, you are stronger and faster."
Yeah.
Well, also the fact that Mark is on Earth is the only thing that's keeping the Viltrumites from sending another ambassador.
Yes.
The second they learn he's gone, they'll be like, "All right, send Anissa instead."
I think they've been able to do a pretty good job because they're able to like capture these time machine things, jump around. They have time to do stuff like that. So they've got some sort of infrastructure
Because
set
there's
up.
4 in Guardian's custody.
That's true.
Which is, again, we said it earlier, stop bringing up time machines.
Right. Yeah, it gets complicated when time machines are involved in a story. But I do think that like they've been able to, either they made a deal with the Viltrumites, we're like, yeah, we're part of the Empire. The Viltrumites have killed off a bunch of people, but they still are able to like have some agency over the planet. And the Viltrumites aren't watching everything they do second by second because they're like, we've conquered Earth. We've moved on to something else now.
Maybe the Viltrumites took over and it's quite lovely, but
pro
but
Viltrumite.
they only let people watch a DVD copy of Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. And so
What a bull!
And so
I don't know. Put me on my knees and chop my head off. I don't want to watch
Earth is like, yes, world hunger has been cured. Yes, they gave us the cure for cancer. Yes, it is an orderly society, but we are only allowed to watch this in our free time.
This is where the human spirit would rise up. I mean, when they do meet these future Guardians, right? Robot/Rex of the future Guardians has a really interesting line when Mark kind of asks, Mark says, I don't know if I would have survived here. And Robot's like, you did survive, but you wouldn't like what you have become.
Yeah, because he'd gone crazy.
I think he would. I think to me, the most fascinating thing is that there's clearly no food. Mark flies up and he sees nothing, which means he can't starve to death, but he's still starving. So imagine that.
Yeah.
Wait, he can't starve to death?
Because I think he would heal himself, right?
Yeah, but he's basically, he doesn't get to eat food, but he's not going to die by starvation, but he's got to still be hungry every second. I think he ate his own hand.
There are some interesting comics that have explored this idea, right? There's a Superman comic, I believe, where he lives to the end of time and he's by himself and he's lonely and it kind of makes him a little weird. But I think the Hulk also did this in a very interesting way, where there's a version of the Hulk that lives till the end of time.
Yeah.
He's on Earth by himself. There's these irradiated cockroaches that keep consuming his flesh, and as soon as it's eaten, it grows back. He just cannot die.
Yeah.
And I think that the same thing would kind of happen to Mark, where his stomach might start eating itself, but then his organs would regrow. I don't know
I
where
bet it's extreme
his energy
torture
would come from, but yeah.
Also, he's been there for 10 minutes and he's already talking to himself.
Yeah. Well, he's covered in blood. He's gonna
He had a whole conversation with himself. He lost it. He was like,
I mean, at some point, he would eat Angstrom Levy, I would assume, right? He would start a fire, cook Angstrom, eat ham, and
good dark meat.
Oh.
I can't.
I bet, here's the thing, we know, there's a short Stephen King story, it's in Skeleton Crew or one of those books, but there's this surgeon anyway, he gets shipwrecked, and he keeps telling himself, okay, I can eat, I need to survive, I can eat parts of myself, I can just never touch my hands, because he's a surgeon. And he's washed up with a bunch of cocaine because it's Stephen King and he was probably doing a bunch of cocaine when he wrote it.
No.
And so first he cuts off his foot, and throughout the short story, eventually he goes crazy from him cutting his own flesh.
Yeah.
And then he's cuts off his fingers and he's tastes like lady fingers, because he's totally bonkers at this point. I bet we know they made a point of saying Mark can regrow his teeth.
Yeah. Ooh, he starts eating his own
flesh. So he can
flesh.
cut off his hand and eat it, and then it would grow back.
Yeah.
And that's at that point, you're going crazy.
Sexy. I like that.
I don't know what this episode has become, ladies and gentlemen. We don't.
I also
can cut off a butt cheek and regrow it, is what I'm saying.
How do you reach back to cut off an ass cheek? It makes sure I got this
You
good.
can't reach back to your ass.
I can, but I just want to make sure I'm cutting directly.
I do think that this line from Rex/Robot also indicates that when they were using these time machines and they were jumping around, right? They first went from their Earth to this dimension at the same time.
Yeah.
They meet that Mark and they're like, "We're not bringing you back to Earth, buddy."
Yeah.
And leave. And then they come back 20 years earlier and they're like, "Hey, buddy, we're gonna bring you back."
Hey,
We're
before
still
you
good
start
shape.
eating your butt cheeks,
Yes.
we're gonna rescue you.
Hey, buddy, you ate a part of yourself that got a little bit hard at times. And you said it tastes like
Absolutely
sausage.
not. Absolutely.
I bet he made a Wilson volleyball out of Angstrom Levy's punched head.
Oh yeah, he's talking to Angstrom like, "What do you think, Angstrom?"
You got
I got to get the hell out of here.
his body just sitting up like this.
The other big thing.
Wait. So just to clarify, you think that the Guardians found Mark in their current timeline?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the first thing they did was just get to that dimension.
Yeah.
Then they realized oh, this is not a Mark we want. They go back to the main dimension. They get the time machines and they're like, let's go.
Yeah, they said that this is the current Guardians.
Right.
The current Guardians that we have, this is them 20 years later.
Yeah.
This is them. This isn't a different set of Guardians.
Right.
Right. But it's a new dimension in which they would have found their Mark, our Mark, collective Mark, but in 20 years older.
Yeah,
Yes, 20 years older and crazier, just put on a one-man show of Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
Why?
He's got a referral code.
But also
She's
he
got
said
self-copies.
that the only way you would be stuck here is if Angstrom Levy was dead.
Right.
So they would know that. There's probably an energy signature he gives off.
Right.
Yeah, they figured out that oh, Angstrom's not here, Mark's not here. He must have taken him somewhere. Takes them 20 years to figure out how to get to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, don't look at that bloody pile over there. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
What is that? Did you go to the bathroom? Just
No,
don't worry
this is
about it.
cranberry cranberry juice on my body. That's all that is. He was. Oh man, the fact that like the blood was just like drying on him. That's
And
crazy.
he would just,
Also, we know
Yeah,
he's
it all-
being fast enough that he can like make it go away.
or
Yeah,
if he
we've
goes
seen
in the
it.
atmosphere.
Yeah. So
Once he goes in
should've
the
just
atmosphere,
done
it oxidizes off.
He should have just done that.
The other big thing that we were wondering about is what's going on with Rex in the future, huh?
Rudy's definitely dead.
Rudy's dead.
Because he's got robot's suit on.
Wearing robot.
I think Rudy's dead, and maybe like because we saw him like getting a little shaky when he was fighting Octobot, so maybe he like wanted that extra layer of protection of a robot suit.
Or it's just a way to keep robot around after Rudy dies.
Oh, that's bleak. That's grim.
Well, also remember, Rex now has a robot hand after getting bit off by the
Right.
Komodo dragon. So when Rudy would grow up anyway, he would look like Rex.
Yeah.
Because Rudy is technically Rex.
Rudy was a Rex clone.
Yeah,
but
well-
they call him Rex. It's not Rudy. It's definitely
It's Rex. But also, I mean, maybe Robot left it to him.
Yeah, because even when Robot was the original iteration, it's not like the AI. The AI was there, but it was still being controlled by.
Yes.
And he also
man
like
in the- Rudy in the
created
tank.
Monster Girl a suit, a
Right.
metal suit, so he can, yeah. Like
It's
I
probably
think,
just a way for the AI to live on. And,
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that theory though, Jay. That Robot would have left it for Rex if he were to die early to be like, "Hey, sorry for stealing your DNA."
This is
Right.
my apology
yeah,
to you.
yeah. Listen, you're the only one that fits in the suit because I
well,
am
the suit's
mostly you.
It's chunkier now. Did you know? It's like
Yeah.
a thicker
Yeah,
robot.
yeah.
He's not as skinny, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Robot's
He's a
thickened
big
up.
boy.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with big boys. Listen, we out here living. It's our season. I'm telling you. Y'all be out here hating on us. I'm telling you. Ladies, get you a thick dude in your life.
Yeah.
You understand? We give you, in the summer, we give you shade. In the winter, we give you warmth.
It's true.
WARMF. We keep y'all toasty. You better get y'all. Look, don't be acting like, oh, I don't want a big dude in my life. You're going to need somebody to protect you eventually, and it's going to be us. We ain't running around here like these tired, skinny dudes with man buns. No offense, Brandon. Anyway,
Feels real targeted. Feels real targeted. But you know what, Jay? You called me skinny, and I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide.
Okay, move on.
You put skinny in front of it, I'm okay. Okay, let's quickly touch on the cameos we had too of the future Guardians, right? A pretty fun way for the show to touch on other superhero properties in the Image Comics universe, right? And other universes, because we had like a Batman cameo. They played a little like Batman pastiche soundtrack
Yes.
as
Yeah.
he was there, like as close as they could get without getting sued. And as many fans have noted before, the comic series of Invincible has crossed over into the Marvel Comics universe as well. In the Angstrom-Levy fight in the comics, there's a flash of Spider-Man, which they expand on in Marvel Team Up, Volume 3, Issue 14. And then Invincible also meets like the Avengers at one point very quickly. And while we know that Amazon has Spider-Man shows in the works right now, rights-wise, it probably would have been very messy to deal with like Sony, who owns all the Spider-Man and all that stuff. So instead, we have Agent Spider for fighting Professor Octopus. Agent Spider is voiced by Josh Keaton, who has voiced Spider-Man in the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series on the CW and reprised the role for Across the Spider-Verse. Do we ever get a crossover, like a real crossover in the series, do you think? Or is this the closest we'll ever get?
Closest
like,
we get.
They'll never get handshake agreements to do like an actual Spider-Man, actual
Closest
Marvel
we get.
Avengers.
Also, I love that Spider Boy, whatever he is like, ugh,
Agent Spider.
multiverse stuff, huh? I get it.
Yeah,
yeah. He like, I
Especially
get it.
lately.
He says, I've seen a lot of that lately, which I think indicates,
Yeah.
I think it's like a joke on Across the Spider-Verse that, you know, he's seen that. But also
But
just like
also-
all the movies.
Yeah, Doctor Strange and the
People
Multiverse
coming
of
through
Madness.
portals. He's like,
yeah,
I get it. I'm
yeah.
No way
caught up.
home.
Yeah, it's all of it. He's right.
What if
I
there's a
love that.
possibility for sure that Batman could come over? Because we know how Warner Brothers look. There
Warner's
are.
is making deals all over
If
the
you
place
look
right
at a
now.
lot of DC properties, they are now on a lot of other streaming platforms
Yeah.
where they never would be before. And so the possibility of him actually, even though he's a $10 million character just to put
Right.
anywhere, that's probably the biggest thing that'll stop it. But it's a possibility of seeing something.
I bet if the Viltrumites took over, they would make one big media company, and then any superhero property could cross over anywhere.
It's true.
I'm in favor of them now.
I mean, I do think that at some point, Warner, like DC and Marvel, will have live action characters interact in a movie. They'll make a big deal. It'll be a big splash.
They'll Roger Rabbit it.
They totally will.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't think Invincible, this series, will get to that point, but we will see that happen in animation as well. All these conglomerates come together. either Disney's gonna own everything or Apple's gonna own everything.
We're already getting a sports network. What's to say we ain't gonna get it with live action movie?
It's true. It's true.
Tony Stark meet Bruce Wayne. Oh my God!
It'll be crazy. Okay, lastly, we know there's a season 3 happening for this show. Back in 2021, Amazon renewed Invincible for a second and a third season. And J.K. Simmons has recently said in an interview with Screen Rant that, quote, yes, there will be more Nolan in the future, but it'll continue to sort of wax and wane. Okay? So if season 3 ends up being the last season of the show, how far do we think that they'll get in the series based on the comics? Bit of a spoiler warning here. If you don't want to know anything that happens in the future in the comics, we're going to talk about it a little bit. Because it seems like they're building up for the Viltrumite War, okay? And that's like where Nolan, Mark, and Thetis all team up to take down the Viltrumites, okay? But there's also a world where we could see the Invincible we caught glimpses of weaponized by Angstrom Levy in the Invincible War, okay? What do you guys think about that? Where do you think the show is going first? Are they gonna have like all these dimensional Invincibles fight each other? Or are they gonna get right to like taking on the Viltrumites in totality?
I think we're gonna time hop this last season. I think because these seasons have been slow burns per se. They start off a little slow, and again, of course, this one had to break, and then all of a sudden it was like, it was amping up, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, that's it, right? I think this one out the gate, episode 1, boom, 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 boom. Episode 2, boom, boom, boom. Especially if it's the last one.
Yeah.
First of all, it's going to be about 2-3 years.
Yeah, there was a kind of quote recently that it's going to probably be about the same amount of time between season 1 and season 2 for season 2 and season 3. So that's like 2.5 years.
So it's like 2.5 years. So in that time, I think we're going to get the Viltrumite War.
Yeah.
We might get a glimpse at the very end of the Invincible War just to tease if they try to say, hey, let's decide if we want to bring it back.
Right.
But I think the Viltrumite War, I think we get a lot of things. I think we might see what happens with Mark and Eve.
Yeah.
We get Oliver grown up. Well, and
Yeah, they'll grow him up.
He'll grow up. I think those different things will happen because if it's the last season, you can't just leave it on a full cliffhanger. If anything,
You gotta deal with this Viltrumite thing, right?
Yeah, you got to deal with that. So that's what this is. But I think this is not a 1 week war.
Yeah.
A 1 month war. This is something that's going to be like, hey, this has been 5 years, we still fighting. This has been 10 years, we still fighting. And then maybe 15, we're done, but then other stuff starts happening.
How would you feel about like they kind of tell a story in this third season and then maybe wrap it up with like an hour-and-a-half movie, right? They did that Adam Eve prequel special, which is about an hour. I mean, all these episodes are close to an hour. But if they did like an hour-and-a-half long kind of wrap-up movie, that could be fun too.
I bet they'll get another season.
Maybe.
I bet they'll leave it not on a cliffhanger necessarily. They'll leave it on enough of a cliffhanger to, that it can be brought back. In the world of streaming, like all bets are off. So it could be that it doesn't get renewed, but then 2 years from now, they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do another season.
Or Amazon sells it to someone else.
Yeah, exactly. So I bet we'll get another season.
They were also teasing a lot this season with the Invincible title card, right? That black and red cracking and revealing black and blue, which Mark in the comics has an Invincible suit that's black and blue that creator Robert Kirkman often associated with like the Venom suit, right? Where it's like when Mark is wearing that suit, some bad stuff happens. I think this season was kind of indicating that Mark he's gonna try and tamp down the Nolan-ness inside of him, the Viltrumite inside of him. I think it's gonna come through a little bit, and he's gonna be very angry.
I mean, he's at that age. He's at that age that, like, where college students
18,
are
baby.
like,
He's out of
I'm
school.
gonna drink and punch a lot of guys with my fists
Yeah.
until they're bloody masses in other universes. We all went through it in college.
Yeah, I did it too. I left a lot of dead people in different dimensions.
Hey, who's the most emotionally invincible?
Hey folks, every episode on
Over our crap.
the Breakroom, John's dying, and I'm really freaking out. Oh, okay, we're healing John through laughter.
We're healing John, ladies and gentlemen.
Everyone clap. Bring him back to life, like Tinkerbell.
He regrets saying.
You have to believe in John. You have to believe in John. As we do on every episode here of the Breakroom After Show, we're going to talk about who the most emotionally invincible character was this season, or even for this episode, this season, the series so far. At this point, as we begin our long 2.5-year wait for season 3, who ended this season the most emotionally invincible? Would anyone like to start?
Don't put me first on this
I'll go first.
Okay.
Not for this episode, but for the whole season. I think I gave it to him last time. I'm gonna give it to Donald.
Ooh, my boy Donald.
I think discovering like a lot happened with Donald
Yeah.
in this season. He discovered he's a robot. He's got a robot body. He died and was given a robot body. Then he was like, "Ooh, this is a lot to take in. I got to talk to my buddy Cecil." And he's like, "Hey, I'm a robot." And Cecil was like, 39 times you've been a robot. And then he like mentally healed from that enough to save a suicidal half robot boy that came back from the brink. I think he like, you know, everyone else has their problems. It's like, wow, my relationship isn't going well and I'm not getting to party enough in college. But this dude watched himself die 39 times and then was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Back to work, baby. I got to give it to Donald.
And every time he died, he was saving people.
He was saving people.
Always
And
he's
he
a
has
hero.
no powers.
Yeah.
He's truly like
He's a robot.
the Agent Coulson
Yeah.
of this universe.
Yes.
Agent Coulson, you know, like no powers whatsoever.
Right.
Actually died.
Donald did great.
It's Agent Coulson working with Amanda Waller. Because that's
Yeah.
what Cecil is.
That's
Pretty much.
true. That's
Cecil is
true.
Amanda Waller.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say I gotta give it to my girl Debbie. I mean, Debbie really pulled it together. She's had it the hardest. You know, Mark can just fly off into space. Mark can beat people up. Mark can like let his anger out. He's got a whole government facility backing him up. Debbie, oh man, Debbie was gaslit. Debbie was lied to. Debbie was abandoned. Debbie has to question whether it's worth meeting Nolan to have Mark. You know, like if it was worth it all. Like it's hard for her. And in the end, she's ready to date again. She's ready to put herself back out there. She's put away the wine bottle for the most part. We haven't seen any drinking these last couple episodes.
I'm worried for that guy,
her
though.
ex's baby.
She gonna break him off too.
I'm worried about that guy. I think she's gonna go
Balls.
on a couple of dates with him,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna bone, and then Nolan's gonna come back and be like, "I missed you." Wait, you boned another guy?
Yeah,
didn't
Nolan
you?
gonna come back with Debbie with her ass in the air. Like that's gonna. She gonna be getting
Paul
from the back.
probably is not long for this world, but my girl Debbie is the most emotionally invincible. She
Can you
handled it.
imagine? Debbie was
handled
like,
it.
she finally got it, just like the bed rocket, and Nolan's like, oh, Mark's probably just getting it in right now. And he walks in, and it's actually Debbie getting the guts torn out. Look, I think the question is, who is the most emotionally invincible this season? Cecil.
Okay, that's fair.
Cecil don't care about nothing.
That's true.
Cecil don't care about. Look, oh, Mark's fighting the underwater creature. Hey, record that sound real quick. You heard him.
Can't wait to kill that little boy.
Hey, Mark. Hey, look, this Viltrumite chick got your girl by the neck, and she can beat your ass. Okay, Mark, just tell her we good. We'll figure it out
The
later.
amount of like frustration or just like boredness he always had with Donald being like, I've died 39 times. He's like, yes, Donald, you've died a bunch. You asked to have your memories
When
wiped.
he went to
What do you
Donald,
want?
he was like, "Hey man, sit down for a second."
Just look at this.
He was like, "Oh, I had." He's like, "No, not the password you think you got. Here, you wanted it. Walked off."
Do you think the folder was labeled miscellaneous?
Yeah.
Where you hide all the good stuff
Yeah,
on
in the midst.
What is it?
Tax documents.
Tax documents? Yeah, that's a good
So
one.
it's like you get that, then you got him dealing with, oh, you got this Angstrom Levy dude.
yeah.
You know, you just saw your house, your mama gets her arm broken in half. You got a half alien baby. All right, man, it's just another Wednesday for me.
Yeah.
Cecil is by far the most emotionally invincible person. Donald went through the emotional gambit. Debbie went through the emotional gambit. April, who's even working there, was like, well, I'm here to serve you, which we all still think is a ploy.
It's a lie. I don't trust April at all. Don't
It
trust
is
April at all.
literally Cecil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think Cecil's the guy you do want him in charge. We give him a lot of crap because he's morally questionable, but
He makes the hard choices.
he does make the hard
Yep.
choices. I don't want to make those hard choices.
Well, folks, that's it for us today and this season. Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel right here on YouTube and give us a follow on Twitch where we do these videos live. We'll be back for season 3 of Invincible if the world still exists. I don't know. We've got
We'll see you guys in 2 years from the new empire.
Yeah. There also could be a surprise, another like Adam Eve type special. We could get one for Rex, I think. In the comics, when they did that Adam Eve kind of history, it involved more of Rex, which they did not do.
Yes.
There's obviously a lot of history with Rex we got to get into, so we'll see if we get there. But it's been great covering with the show. We hope you've enjoyed it. We've got a lot of other after shows we're going to have for the rest of the year, so tune into those. Jay, give me your socials one last time.
Man. Instagram, TikTok, Mr. J Washington. More than anything, go to my link in my bio. May 11th, my Netflix is a joke taping. I'm taping for Netflix. Make sure you come watch that. Get your tickets. I'm sending my tickets link to producer Evan, who better buy his tickets. I'm sending it to John, who better get his. I'm gonna send it to Brandon. I'm gonna send it to Gina. I'm gonna send it to Hank the dog. So everybody go out. But no, Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington.
Gina, tell them where they can find you on the internet.
You can find me at Gina Ippy. Just don't send me creepy messages.
Please don't. Please don't. Is it Halloween or what? I forgot what the quote was. I'm sorry.
What are you doing? It's Halloween.
What are you doing? It's Halloween. Send her a DM of that, please.
Instant classic.
Be sure to follow at Breakroom and R on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. We'll catch you next time. Rate SKS. Goodbye.